Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Welcome back. I got the Extreme UL-19 build on the block. All right, we're about to start this build here shortly. Today we're going to be making a stuffing tube mount out of carbon fiber. Okay, I melted my stock stuffing tube mount. That's got to be taken care of before we throw these big electronics in the boat. We're going to be throwing a 4082 2200 kV 6-pole motor in the boat with a 200 amp OXIDEAN ESC 8S capable. Okay, 6-pole motor. Okay, it's gonna have a lot of torque. All right, so we gotta definitely get this boat worked out, get it ironcladed out before we do the full install. I'm just kind of dry fitting the motor. We'll go into that in a little bit. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started on the carbon fiber stuffing tube mount DIY. So stick around. Big B with Ironclad RC. So let's get to it, you guys. Let's get to it. So I've actually got to pull this whole electronics tray out so I have room to cut out the stock stuffing tube mount. Basically unhooked my servo here. I've got the flex cable out, which I got from Zip Kits. Okay, you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6 or 8 screws that hold this electronics tray in. It pulls out. Okay, and we'll cut this guy here out. So before we do that, I just kind of wanted to go over the OXIDEAN Marine electronics. Now this is a 6-pole motor. It's a high kV. With a 4-pole motor, it has a higher RPM than a 6-pole motor. 6-pole motors have more torque at a reduced RPM. That's why, basically, that's why this boat came with a 6-pole motor. It has 6-pole motors tend to have more torque with less RPM top end. 6-pole motors with the more torque, you could put bigger props on the boat, push a heavier, bigger boat. So I went with a 2200 kV. It's a big block. It's a 4082, okay, 6-pole. So I went with the higher kV 6-pole. Running on 4S, doing ovals, 6S, straightaway, saw passes, okay. This motor should be a freaking absolute beast in this boat, you guys. With a 4-pole motor, you would want to run anywhere in the neighborhood of 1650 to 1900 kV with a 4-pole motor. Okay, as the motor gets bigger, you can go up in kV. Okay, that's basically why I went with the 2200 kV. But keep in mind, if you go higher in kV with a bigger, heavier boat, you gotta have an ESC that's up to the freaking task. You know, that's why I went with the 200 OXIDEAN. It's going to be a beast, you guys. And I'm working out. I got a dry fit right now just so you guys can see what it's going to look like. It's going to fit like a glove, you guys. It's going to fit like a glove. Kind of working out my cooling run and what I need to do once we start the setup. I'm going to use the Mad Lizard tuning gauge, ride height gauge to tune the boat with. Okay, so it's going to be a fun build, fun project. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get this out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull the motor. Got the ESC just kind of sitting in here. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. I think there was 2 screws right here that I actually took out so I could put my ESC right there. So it would be 10 screws all together. And your ESC tray basically slides right out the boat. All right, hopefully I can get it out without losing all my screws. Okay, I'm just going to set this off to the side, keep my screws in place so I don't lose them. All right, this is basically what it looks like without the electronics tray. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tray mounting blocks. Okay, then our stuffing tube mount. I'm going to use this flush cut saw right here and I'm going to cut it out. All right, I've got a Dremel. I could use a Dremel with a cutoff wheel, but I'm going to use my saw. I just feel more comfortable. Okay, and then we're going to get the Dremel out and we'll sand it all down. So I got the old retainer out. You guys can see it's melted. A lot of play, and we need to keep that stuffing tube in place. So basically just kind of copy the design. All right, I'm going to make mine a little bit longer, okay, because I'm actually going to get rid of all of this glue right here. Okay, and I had to cut the mount, so keep that in mind when you're making your new retainer. You may need to make it a little bit longer and then refine the shape once you get it all you know, ready to be mounted in the boat. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean all this up. I'm gonna get a Dremel or some sandpaper or something, get all that old glue off, get the rest of the mount out of there, prep it all up for the epoxy. Okay. Alright, so we're going to use some alcohol. I use this 90%, 91% alcohol to clean up my repair areas, inside and out, fiberglass, polycarbonate, ABS boats, the alcohol. It doesn't affect the paint, it doesn't affect the plastic or ABS, and it cleans up the area. Repairing an area or doing something like this, it's all about the preparation. I can't stress that enough. Let's go ahead and start profiling and getting our new mount ready. So I think I'm actually just going to go out to the shop, use my bench grinder, and just kind of grind an angle on both sides so I don't have to break out the saw or nothing. I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. It's pretty simple, then we'll drill the hole. Okay, so I got a nice profile on my mount, my new mount. Alright, and we're going to need to drill a 1/4 inch hole. Pretty sure that's a 1/4 inch. Cleaned up. I got the stuffing tube cleaned up, roughed up. You can actually see where I twisted the stock cable. You see that little bulge right there? That's where the stock cable broke at. And I really should replace the stuffing tube, but man, I really don't feel like messing with it right now. That's gonna be okay, man. That's gonna be fine. Incrementally step it up with that stepped up drill bit. Okay, I'm gonna kind of center it right here, give myself plenty of room all the way around the mount. Okay, then we can clean it. We can clean up the access and refine it later on. I got the mount refined. I got the shape I want. Okay, it looks clean. We're basically going to mount it up at an angle. That angle is actually going to put pressure up and down on the stuffing tube, and we can move it forward or forward and back and raise and lower the stuffing tube if needed. Okay, so let me show you what I got here. Okay, I basically got a 1/4 inch hole drilled, got it shaped up. I drilled 4 little small holes in the bottom for our epoxy to fill into. Okay, that's basically going to lock it into place so she don't go nowhere. All right, speaking of epoxy, I'm going to be using Bob Smith Industries 15-minute epoxy there. And I guess I need to mention, when you're making your mount, you need to make sure you can put your electronics tray in the boat. If you make a mount that's too wide, okay, it may not fit in the electronics tray slit or cut out there, so keep that in mind while you're making the mount. Okay, pretty simple, you guys. You know, my videos, I tried to fast forward through a lot of it. You know, it's a pretty simple project. I guess I make it harder than what it really is, or I make my videos seem like it's harder or a longer process, you know. But it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. So we're going to mix up this Bob Smith. It's ready to go. I don't think I'm going to use any chopped up fiberglass or anything. I'm just going to basically epoxy it into the boat. We use alcohol to clean the area. Okay, what we need to actually do real quick, kind of rough up that bottom area so you get a nice bond. You know, if it's slick them up, it's not going to, the epoxy's not going to grab it like it would if it was roughed up. So just kind of get you some 80 grit, rough it up before you epoxy it. Okay, boom, 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 done, done, done. So that's pretty much it, you guys. We're going to mix up the epoxy. I'll let you guys go. Now, my stuffing tube is basically exactly where it needs to be. Okay, this old retainer right here, it was all wallered out. All right, and the alignment to my motor was perfect. Speaking of alignment, you can actually use your motor mount, slide it forward and back to get the motor aligned. Alright, I actually elongated these holes and I elongated the holes on my mount so I can get more adjustability if needed. Alright, so you may need to do that, especially if you get the mount epoxied into the wrong area. You know, you could use your motor to get it fine-tuned and adjusted correctly. Okay, I'm basically going to be taking all this apart this winter, so I'm not going to go too crazy with my epoxy. If this is a permanent mount for your build, go crazy with it. You know, epoxy that bad boy in there. You know what I mean? But that's exactly where I'm going to epoxy that, just like that. Okay, yeah, just like that. All right. So I'm just going to dip my mount, make sure I get epoxy in those holes. I'm going to dip it in here. Screw it. Why not? You know? Alright, so we're going to dip it. I got it all cleaned up with alcohol. Okay, let's go ahead and get this mount where it needs to be. Like I said, I'm going to keep mine exactly where it's at right here. I don't need to go over. I don't need to go up. I'm going to keep it right where it's at. Okay, and then we're going to put this Bob Smith in there. I got this from Zip Kits. Same place I got my flex cable for this boat. Alright, just going to kind of build it up around it. Pretty simple, pretty simple. You could use fiberglass for this too, you know. Shoot, you can use composite, some kind of a composite if you want to. Any kind of sheet, you know, you can cut out and epoxy into the boat, you know. Just going to kind of work it in. If you wanted to, you could use some carbon fiber or chopped up fiberglass mixed in with the epoxy. Is going to give you a little bit better bond, you know, a stronger bond, kind of reinforce this mount so you know it's not going to move or shift, you know. But I think that's good. Take a little bit of alcohol, put it on my finger, okay, and you can actually smooth out the epoxy with the alcohol on your finger. The epoxy won't stick, okay, and you can kind of clean it up and tidy it up, make it look good, you know, with that alcohol on your finger, okay, just to kind of give it a nice finished look, you know, manicure it, smooth it out. Okay, so that's it. It's done. It's done. So it actually turned out pretty nice, you guys. It don't move. Okay, it's actually been about an hour since I did it. That 15-minute dries quick. Okay, I smoothed it out with alcohol, so it's like a nice smooth transition from epoxy to the mount. All right, I got a nice angle on it just to kind of keep a little bit of pressure on my stuffing tube. Okay. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and install my electronics tray. You know, it's the 8 screws there. And we'll throw the OXIDEAN motor back in real quick. Make sure we have proper alignment from the stuffing tube retainer to the motor. All right, got the electronics in. I got the tray in. I've got it all tightened down with blue Loctite on each screw. Don't forget your Loctite. They actually have nylon locking nuts, so you really don't need Loctite. I use it just to have it. It turned out good, you guys. It actually looks really good. Okay, you guys can see the epoxy dam holes down there. It's nice and sturdy, as you guys seen in the previous clip. I actually got it in the perfect location. If I would have put it higher, or if you accidentally put it higher, you'd have to run your motor forward and up. And I've got my motor slid back and down. Lower CG, motor farther back in the boat. More room for ESC. Epic. Okay, it's freaking impossible for me to make a short video. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a real quick video for you guys. Quick, easy stuffing tube retainer. Nope, not big B, not big freaking B. So the extreme UL-19 build is about to begin. Okay, it's about to begin. So we'll see you guys next time. Big B with Ironclad RC.